What's happening, friends? Welcome to episode 89 of the Game Moose podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Turford, alongside Broccoli himself, Brock McLaughlin.
Wubba-dub-dub!
Yeah.
I've been really obsessed with Rick and Morty lately.
It's a good catchphrase, yeah.
Pickle Rick!
Pickle Rick is pretty
Pickle
good.
Rick is really funny.
Yeah.
And the disembodied voice you just heard, the ghost with the most McMillan.
Yeah. I'm spooktacular.
You're back.
Spoopy, yeah. Yeah, I'm back from haunting the woods.
Blair Witch style.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrifying teenagers. Only ones with cameras, though. I'm
just
only
like-
into scaring kids with cameras who are making documentaries about the woods. So, yeah.
Is it because you just force them to just sit in the corner and then stare?
Oh, well, yes. Yeah, they stand in the corner.
Yeah.
That's totally my thing. Kids stand in the corner.
I just missed my mouth and spilled water all over the table.
That's fine. It's fine. We're just going to roll with ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
been a week off, okay?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
rusty.
We're all tired.
For sure. First of all, I want to apologize to everyone at home that we didn't have a show last week. Last minute scheduling sort of threw a snafu into things, but
Yes.
that's okay. We're back for a new show this week. Again, I want to thank Sean, friend of the show, Sean Capri, for coming on
Thank
and
you,
filling
Sean.
in Drew's shoes on
Yeah.
episode 88.
You did
as well.
you did a good job, Sean, but you didn't say fuck enough.
He said fuck a lot.
I would agree
Did.
with that.
He
I would agree.
swore a lot more than he usually does. So good on you, buddy.
Yeah. We the
but yeah.
Gamercast, a wholesome family show.
That's true.
This
That's
one
true.
is definitely not.
Yeah, that one's for the kids.
This
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
one's
This
for
is
the
not.
adults.
This is like an
Yeah.
after dark kind of show.
Yeah, we're very serious. Remember when we did Game Moose After Dark? That was like way back, like episode like 18. We recorded it at like in the middle of the night after
We literally did. We
like a
recorded-
night shift or something.
We recorded after one of my work night shifts because I usually work till midnight. So
Yeah.
we were recording till like 3 in the morning. It was
yeah,
great.
and I put sexy saxophone music on the podcast. It was great.
Ooh,
Yeah,
We should bring that back.
yeah,
Spooky episode.
I like sleep.
yeah, yeah.
You all.
Let's save that for the Halloween episode.
There we go.
Yeah.
So on today's show,
Yeah.
we have a lot to talk about.
Yes,
Actually,
we do.
We're going to talk about microtransactions and how they're our favorite things in the whole world.
Everybody loves them.
We're going to talk about Friday the 13th because I
God.
love Friday the 13th, the game.
The video game, not the recent video game or the Nintendo video game, the old Nintendo game.
A little bit of both.
Knowing
actually.
Ryan, it could go both ways.
Yeah, that's totally true.
And we're going to talk about Valve's first new game in like 6 or 7 years.
And it's not Half-Life 3.
It's not going to be a long conversation. Don't worry.
Oh, come on. People like
But
the
Ryan-
genre that it fits in.
Ryan, there's the first thing we got to talk about.
Yeah.
Echo the Dolphin for real?
Echo the Dolphin's a good game.
Yeah, actually, I kind of like Echo the Dolphin.
I really want to play Echo the Dolphin at our extra live stream.
You guys kind of got piled on by Brock and Sean last week. I wish I was there because no, like Echo the Dolphin is pretty underrated.
I mean, he's definitely a dolphin. Don't get me wrong. The controls and the level design are not great.
But the animation is very nice.
But the animation is
And the
amazing.
sound-
the
the
music is really good in that
the
game.
sound design is really good. It's a masterclass in presentation.
It also has an amazing story about a dolphin that fights off time-traveling aliens
Yeah.
by traveling to their spaceship that happens to also be in water.
Also,
Who wrote this story and why is he not working today?
Yeah,
Sega? Someone
There's
at Sega?
magic. There's magic whales and crystals.
There are magic whales and
Yeah.
crystals. And then you even go in the second game in Tides of Time, there's a special stage that's very similar to Sonic 2's special stage where you're collecting rings and stuff. It's great.
Yeah, Great, good game.
I'm really excited for Sonic Mania. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
thought about
Yeah.
Rings and Sonic. And
I
I'm
know.
That's a good point.
stoked.
I know. I can't believe we're like a day and a half away from playing that game.
I can't believe I'm
so
excited for a Sonic game.
It's only like $20 too, and that animation is sweet.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, prices vary wildly on different platforms, which is weird.
Really?
I don't even know how much the Switch price is because I don't think they've said yet.
Is it on Switch?
It is on Switch.
it is. It
We
is.
played it at
I
the,
I played
the
at
preview event.
The preview event.
Is
was
it on
there.
sale this week on Switch?
Yeah.
Should
Oh,
be.
I'll be
The
buying
only-
that then.
There was actually a version that got delayed that we're going to talk about in the news a little bit.
All right, well, I'm jumping ahead.
That's all
yeah.
good. But we're going to start the show in a way that we haven't started the show in a long time.
With the song and dance?
Yeah.
Drew, what have you been playing?
Oh.
Okay. So I was in the woods for 10 days, so I didn't play a lot when I was there.
You played a lot in the woods themselves, the actual woods.
I played the game The Woods.
Did you see a bear shit in the woods?
I didn't. There were no bears where I was. The park where I was, there was not a lot of bearage. I did contemplate downloading. However, at one point, when I started to get the withdrawals in the middle of the week, downloading and playing the Titanfall mobile game that came out recently.
Ooh.
Which looks kind of cool. It's like a Titanfall, like turn-based strategy RPG kind of thing. I didn't play that though. What I did play is, and I have a review. It's in the pipe. It should be. I'm just polishing it now for Aven Colony, which is a game I was playing a lot before I left,
Caw-caw!
and then finished the last little bit of it the other day. Yeah, I don't know why it's called Aven Colony. Maybe it's not like a bird.
Is it about birds?
There's not a lot of birds in it.
No,
there's not a lot of birds. Like birds is not like it's not like you raise turkeys is one of the things that you do. It's SimCity in space is what it is.
Okay,
and not in space, but on like alien planets.
so it's Space City.
It is Space City. So it's like a city builder primarily, and then it's got elements of like maybe some of like the 4X games or something like that. Like it's got a little bit of like maybe like Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri kind of stuff going on. It's an okay game. It doesn't look as good as it probably should. Like when you compare it to like City Skylines or some of the other sort of like recent modern city building games, it doesn't look as good, which is disappointing because you think they would really go for it with the fact that it's set like in space.
Right.
But it's kind of boring. There's sandworms and shit like that, but they never really blow you away. They're never really that spectacular.
And also, like on a game like that, like how well can they really do that, anyways? Like it seems almost like they're like background fixtures, I would assume, in a game like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
It's just like when you have like a natural disaster in
essentially
SimCity.
that's what it boils down to, is that the aliens end up just becoming natural disasters, which is a bit of a bummer. But you know, like what can you do? They do show up, and there's all this stuff with like there's also like alien plants that you can grow. What it comes down to is that there's too much minutia in the game. There's too much stuff to do. And when your resources are plentiful, it gets really boring really fast because there's not much of a challenge either. When it gets really interesting is, so like you can build one of like, I think it's like farms. You have to build farms to provide food for your people. Because there's, unlike like SimCity, SimCity you have electricity, water, and then you have like, you have to deal with crime and pollution and stuff like that. But basically, it's just like you just basically have electricity, water, and money. In this, you have nanobots, you have food, you have water, you have like air purity, and then you have things like crime, and then you can also do trade. And each farm, you can make one of, I think it's 7 crops. And then some of those crops can then be refined down to things like bread, or like you can make some like special chemicals, and then they have like higher trade values. Where the game really shines is when you're forced to use fewer resources because you're focused more on those things. Like when you're on the desert planet, you're thinking like, where am I going to get water from, right? So one of the cool things that you can do is like if you have thermoelectric generators on a desert planet, one of the things you can switch the thermoelectric generators into steam generators, which then you could like condense water out of, or like it kind of just goes like that a little bit. It gets really frustrating. It gets really annoying when you have plenty of resources and you're like, well, these feel like superficial decisions. Like I don't really care. It doesn't really make that much of a difference whether I choose barley or corn, because the reality is that like corn and barley grow equally well on a planet that has lots of water. So who cares?
Just get them both.
They become superficial decisions. So like it just ends up being a layer of detail that you don't need.
Okay. See, that's not cool.
Yeah, and then and also it kind of feels like you reach the sort of like the high level of a city very early on. Like you're building these like super buildings towards the end. It takes about like 45 minutes to get there. Like the loop of the game is really short. Unlike SimCity, like you're not building like the really, really big like stadiums and stuff like that. You're not building those until like several hours into the game. So the pace feels all weird.
Yeah, that must be like really slow by the sound of it.
In SimCity, in this, it's actually too fast.
Oh.
Like you just sort of like, because the way the game is set up is that you have these different scenarios where you're in different planets or different parts of the planet, and there's a story there which is really lame and doesn't actually have any bearing on what you're doing. And then there's missions, and the missions just pointedly tell you how to build your city. It's just like, okay, now build farms, now build this, and it's just how to build things in order. And then every once in a while, someone chimes in and goes, "We found an alien," or like, "I fell down a hole," and you're just like, okay, like it's just backdrop. It doesn't play into it. It's like, oh, well, we've got to build a power plant over here because this is where this unique mineral is or something. There's none of that.
Yeah.
It's
Do
really.
you see the aliens?
You do see the aliens are just creatures, and then you build like guns and lasers and shit, and
Oh, you killed them?
yeah, and then
You can't befriend them?
then you harvest them for their guts. They just want to eat you, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aliens
Kind of like
suck.
XCOM. You just got to murder all of them
So,
until you
like-
become a chrysalis.
There are some good ideas in this game, but ultimately it kind of falls flat.
Okay.
I should also mention that I played this on the PS4. The controls for the PS4 are okay. I mean, they're surprisingly good for what should be a mouse-driven game.
Right.
My advice is, if you really want to play this, you're like, I need a new sim building game. Like, I'm foaming at the mouth. I got to go play one right now. Play this game for sure. It's definitely a decent city building game, but play it on the PC with a mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a better, like, it's probably a better time to do that now because there aren't too many new city building games. Like, we had City Skylines, I think, 2 years ago on PC, but
Sorry.
as well as some other stuff.
Yeah.
But I mean, the console market is getting City Skylines this week, and then The Sims 4 is coming later this year. So it's like it's more crowded on consoles with
Yeah.
this type of genre, which is weird
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
say.
Yeah.
Whereas on PC, like you have SimCity, you have Civilization, you have so much more choice, but a lot of those are older games.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like while I was listening to you talk about that, it just made me realize just how much more ingrained like a game like Civilization is, because it really like every research choice that you make in that game just has so much more of an impact by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
Or even like where you build your city has like
Yeah.
a big impact too. Whereas in this game, it just sounds like you can pretty much just do whatever.
Well, there are like areas, like you want to be close to water, you want to be close to mining resources and stuff like that, but they tend to be they're spread out. There are sort of like smart places to start building your city, but even at that, most of the scenarios start with your city are already begun with
Right.
the basic buildings already done.
Yeah.
Like it's already made that decision for you. And in like the later scenarios, you are making that choice, and you do have to be a little bit smarter about it. But even at that, like the layer of challenge is not that high,
Right.
So yeah, it's like I said, it's not a total failure, and I really hope to see that if they do this again, that they look at games like City Skylines and go like, well, how can we make this game look more interesting and more dynamic?
Yeah.
You can do the stupid SimCity stuff where you zoom in and you can see like the individual like little people walking around your city, and you can overhear them saying shit. And if that floats your boat, then go for it.
Yeah.
But like it looks like a game from like 3 or 4 years ago.
Right. But at least it sounds like it's an okay, at least first attempt for them, and then like
Absolutely.
And these games that we're comparing them to have had many sequels. And,
Yeah, like
I mean, if-
the City series has been around for a long time, and they've had some pretty big flops too. So
Yeah, and I mean, if you go back and play like the original SimCity, it doesn't hold up as well as you probably hope. And
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
no, it does not.
in comparison to something like this, so I think that like
Yeah.
if they take this step forward and do a sequel, it'll probably end up being a better game.
if anything, this game is it's too ambitious. Like they do too much. There's, like I said, there's too many resources. There's too many options. There's too many layers, and it's too much. Like I said, like too much detail with the number of things that you can produce. It feels very overwhelming. It's like you're trading like rice for pasta, and like you're building like a chemical plant so you can extract corn syrup so you can make soda, which then makes your people happier. And it's like, that's too much, man. That's too granular. That's a little too many details for like a top down, like a city building game. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Yeah. But you can impose a soda tax. So, there you go.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Brock.
Oh, man.
What have you been playing?
I've been playing 2 games I can't talk about, and one was okay.
Yeah, I know there is a game a couple games you can talk about.
Yeah, there's definitely. I played Slime Rancher the other night. It's like
Oh,
the
sweet.
free game
Yeah.
on Xbox. It is awesome.
I need to play that.
So much fun. It reminds me so much of Toy Story 3, the best Xbox 360 game.
If by the best you mean not the best.
It's up there, Ryan. It's up there.
Are you trying to tell Drew McMillan right here in front of his face that it's better than Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts?
Yes,
no,
I am.
no, it's not.
Yes,
it's
yes, I
definitely
am.
not. No,
It is a great game and it holds up. But yes, Slime Rancher is really fun.
Yeah.
I'm hearing lots of good things about it.
You just kind of you don't really do anything, and it's really calming and peaceful, and I really like it.
Nice.
I've also, because we had the week off and I was traveling, I
Yep.
played a lot of Switch.
Yep.
I've been playing Severed on the
Finally,
Switch.
someone else besides me
Yeah.
who is playing Severed.
Ryan's a big fan of
It's
Severed.
okay. It's cool. It's
It's a real good video game, ladies and gentlemen.
I finished.
It's not for
a-
everyone because it's a first-person dungeon crawling game.
Yeah,
Which
Yeah.
is
without much story, it seems.
yeah. I mean, it does the environmental storytelling thing, which is what Guacamelee was really good at as well. Which is why I sort of like that game, because I also really like games that don't try and tell you the story right to your face. Like they tell you the story through the environment, through the exploration, and that's sort of what Severed does. And but again, I can see that game not appealing to everyone.
It's a good Switch game though. It translates really well.
Yeah. Well, again, it was also a Vita and iOS game, so obviously, like the touch controls on the Switch are perfect for it.
And it looks the art style is very cool.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. What else? Oh, I finished a game you really like.
Yep.
Shovel Knight. I played the shit out of Shovel Knight.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to talk about that. 'Cause Spectre of Torment, you finally played it as well.
Yeah. It took me about 9.5 hours to finish Shovel Knight,
Jeez.
and then about 6.5 to finish Spectre of Torment.
Yeah.
And I love Spectre.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Told you, man.
So then
so good.
I like pretty much maxed out that and got everything, and I was like, well, might as well play the Plague Knight DLC,
Oh,
which
God.
fucking sucks.
That's a mistake.
It's horrible. It is not fun whatsoever.
It's got its diehard fans, but I hate the way Plague Knight controls. It is,
Oh, it's the worst, and it's so annoying. Like it's just dying constantly. I couldn't do that, so then I went back and played more Shovel Knight. 'Cause
but
I'm on a new
the
game now.
real question is, did you play New Game Plus, and how much did you love New Game Plus?
I love it. It's so bloody hard.
It's
I got
so, like,
nowhere.
it's so
I was
ridiculously
sitting on the
difficult.
plane, like wanting to break my Switch. That game is really frustrating as it is.
Yeah.
I feel what's that Spectre Torment is not as hard.
yeah.
He's like really overpowered.
Yeah, but I love the way he controls and how he moves
Yeah.
and the mechanics of
you
that.
can like float and like do all kinds of cool things.
the way you jump off the walls and
Yeah.
how you like basically maneuver the environment is one of the things I loved about that game.
Yeah, I'm
Cool.
super into it. So yeah, that was awesome.
Also pretty good for free DLC.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. Well, now you have to pay for it, I guess.
No.
It's like $35.
No, that you pay separately for Spectre of Like the game itself is the same price it was when it launched. Or you can pay the $12 to get Spectre of Torment by itself.
Well, I'd recommend getting Shovel Knight too.
Yeah. Or
You're
just
into
buying
that.
the Trevor's Road because you'll also get the King Knight DLC, which is also coming next year.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the last campaign they're doing for Shovel Knight. And then I think they're moving on to another project, they said.
All
Maybe
right.
Shovel Knight 2. Finally.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
The story was really good.
Yeah.
It was really cool. What else did I play? I feel like I played a lot. Oh, I finished Pyre.
Yeah.
It was so bloody good.
Yeah.
I love that
I
game.
need to play that. Yeah.
It's like
got
Oregon
basketball.
Trail and basketball.
Yeah.
It's like my two favorite things. I always talk about wanting to go to Oregon and go on the trail and shooting hoops. I loved it. Everything about it was so good. The art style, the gameplay, It's like seriously good game.
I keep hearing people talking about how they're going to nominate that game for Game of the Year this year.
Yeah.
It's
That's
really
pretty high
fun.
praise this year in particular.
Yeah.
So,
And there's like huge choices you can make, and like I love making choices in games, and I haven't really seen that.
Yeah.
I haven't played the new Batman yet. I think
right.
you have.
I didn't talk about that in a second.
Okay. That's been it. Pyre. Really,
Cool.
really
So,
good
Go
game.
play it.
what do you think? Do you think that they played basketball on the Oregon Trail, like the original pioneers?
Yeah, I think they shot some hoop.
Was
Yeah.
Some
basketball even invented
yeah.
back then?
yeah, when you weren't getting what did you die from?
Dysentery?
Dysentery.
Yeah.
You're probably shooting some hoops. You
Yeah.
know? They were going Kobe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kobe was a farmer they knew down
Yeah.
the
So
street.
They were,
Of course.
They were.
I thought he was actually on the trail with them in one of the wagons, but I guess not.
So confirmed. The pioneers were dunking on each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can guarantee
Yeah.
it.
The Donner Party. That was just personal fouls all over the place.
And that's how basketball was invented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most people don't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Original pioneers, not Canadians, American pioneers.
Yeah.
Lewis and Clark Lewis was a power forward. Not a lot of people know that about Lewis.
I thought he was a power bottom.
No. Also that.
Now the real question is, if you want to go play an experience about the Canadian Pioneers, does Cross Country Canada do that any justice?
Yes. Somewhat.
Wait, there's a game?
Yeah.
Cross Country Canada?
Yes.
The hell is that?
It's a game where you drive a truck across Canada and deliver things.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing. It's actually just like Oregon Trail, except while you drive a truck.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's my dream.
Yeah. You even get like first person viewpoint of driving the truck and you're doing this with the steering wheel and stuff.
And what kind of what era graphics are we talking about?
1995.
Okay.
Actually,
1995
So, see, what you're saying is it looks highly realistic.
It's in 2D.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there you go.
I don't know if you guys know this.
That's a deep cut.
The Leonardo DiCaprio movie that came out last year, where he fights the bear.
Oh yeah.
The Revenant. There's actually they had to cut it, but there's actually a scene where he plays 1-on-1 ball with the bear first. Yeah.
Pyre style.
Yeah.
Is that the whole bear attack? Was that because he lost?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Because the bear was on fire.
Yeah. Again, more personal fouls on Leonardo DiCaprio from the bear. Yeah.
Oh, groping.
Well, it wasn't good.
No, it was not good.
Yeah. Funny enough, that scene was actually cut for time and not for content.
Did something like that happen to you while you were in the woods camping?
No.
Were you touched by a bear?
Come on, Brock.
Again, there are no bears, but certainly we did at one point. We're like, we should really invoke the spirit of the pioneer people, the people who came to Canada, who took the risk to live here, exploit the land and the native peoples, and then we played basketball in the woods. So yeah.
I was in BC and also saw no bears, but I did show my mom Dream Daddy, and she picked the bear.
There are definitely bears in Dream Daddy.
I'm still playing Dream Daddy because it is funny as shit.
I played a little bit of Dream Daddy.
You did?
It's a solid game.
It's a solid game.
Hey, it is a surprising. The whole Pokemon sequence is pretty fucking hilarious.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I really want that dark ending though. I'm still waiting. I think we talked about that briefly with Sean Capri.
We did.
There's a dark
I know nothing about Dream Daddy.
There's a dark ending that's still not fully released, and
man.
it sounds really weird.
Do you sacrifice your daughter to Satan or something?
No, but close.
Okay.
Close. Yeah, it's dark. One of the daddies is a real diddler.
Oh no!
He's a weird daddy.
No diddling, no.
So yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I'm waiting for that DLC.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Ryan, did you also play video games?
So that was my week.
I played a lot of video games this
Yeah.
week. So I played a lot of short video games, which was kind of nice because I've been, hammering around away at this really, really long game as well as this other really, really long game. So I'll try to talk about the short stuff first. So Batman, which you just alluded to, episode 1 of season 2, fantastic. This time it's about the Riddler, which you saw from the trailers. It's called The Enigma. And what's nice is it's very much a self-contained story in one episode. It does have sort of, it's setting up some other things that are going to happen later in the season. But for the most part, it really focuses on the then and now. And I really liked how your choices from the first season, how they carried over this time. Because I felt like they actually had more weight. Not going into how that's going to work anyways, because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it felt like they had more weight than they did with any other Telltale game.
Did it pull a Walking Dead and just ignore your choices and then?
You can give it the option to pre-make the choices for you. But it actually had, some of the choices you had in episode 4 and 5 had some real consequences, which was kind of cool to see, actually, because not a lot of games are doing that. So I really like the direction it's going. I think it's one of the strongest Batman episodes.
Which isn't saying much.
Well, no, but were you talking about how you like episodes 1 through 3?
Yeah, they were good.
A lot.
They were good.
I think it's just as good, if not better than any of those.
I just don't want to get my hopes up and then be ruined.
No, and
I don't like the design of the Riddler at all.
Yeah.
I do not think he looks good.
He's actually the least interesting character in this episode, I have to say. But the rest of the characters, like Amanda Waller, is really well done. Joker's back. John Doe, a.k.a. John Doe, he's back. He's just as interesting as he was before, as well as some other characters that I don't want to talk about because, again, it sort of spoils things in the episode, and I kind of want people to go play it. I also played a blast from the past this week, Mega Man Legacy Collection 2.
Yeah.
I almost wish I hadn't, because Mega Man 7 is a real bad video game.
Yes, it is.
Mega Man 7 does not hold up that well. Surprisingly, though, I hadn't played Mega Man 8 since I rented it when I had a PS2. And that game actually holds up pretty well, despite the really dumb cinematics.
Did you get the Mega Man pack? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Legacy Collection too,
Legacy
yeah.
Collection. So 7 is 7 the SNES one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that one's not good.
No.
I remember playing it forever ago and not spending a lot of time with it.
The thing about Mega Man that I've always really liked is the same thing I like about Shovel Knight, where the mechanics are like super polished and are amazing. Mega Man 7 is not that game. Like Mega Man Sprite is like 1/4 the size of the screen, and that usually involves you jumping into spikes and other things. Not only that, but the platforming is not as responsive and things like that. Like Mega Man X is a way better game than Mega Man 7.
It's hard. I remember it being really hard for me to go from Mega Man, the X series, to playing 7. Because 7 came out while X was sort of like around X2 or X3.
Yeah, like I remember it came
Yeah.
out pretty late in
the SNES's life, yeah.
Yeah. But Mega Man 8, the PlayStation 1 holds up pretty well. And then Mega Man 9 and 10 are still awesome. It's just, if you're an Xbox person, I don't know how much this collection would be really worth it to you, because you can already play Mega Man 9 and 10 on backwards compatibility, and they didn't make any improvements or change anything, because those games just came out back like a few years ago, like 10 years ago at the most. And I mean, they play just like Mega Man 2 or one of the earlier Mega Mans. So those ones didn't really have any polish. If you have another console, like if you have a PS4, for example, you don't really have a way of playing Mega Man 9 and 10. So I think it's more worth it for those games. Because I think the price of admission for just those two games alone is worth it. But Mega Man 7, not great. And they've clearly... this just means now we need a Mega Man X collection.
How many...
For the love of God, Capcom, please.
Yeah, yes, totally. Because there's a bunch of X games I didn't play, especially the later ones,
The
on
PlayStation
ones. I played the first PlayStation one, but not the rest of them.
Yeah. I played the good one because they only got worse.
Yeah, I know. But still, it's worth playing.
Yeah, for sure. Even just having Mega Man 1 through 3 again.
X3 is my favorite, if only because if you do things exactly right, you can have a fully powered up Mega Man with Zero Saber by the end of the game, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like those games actually have a story, whereas the other Mega Man really don't.
Yeah. Well, Mega Man 8 has a great story about
like-
Dr. Wily
Yeah.
and these energy readings. The voice acting is just terrible.
Treble and bass
Yeah.
are characters.
If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you haven't seen the cinematics from Mega Man 8, you have to go look them up, because the dub is just amazing. It's so bad.
It never really made sense to me that they had treble and bass when they already had like an evil Mega Man, which was Proto Man. Like, why did we need another like antagonist for Mega Man? Why did Dr. Wily need to make another evil version of Mega Man? We already had one.
Have you seen The Flash? That's all it is.
Yeah,
Just evil flashes.
That's fair every season.
Yeah.
I think
Literally.
they've run out of evil flashes though. Like, what are they going to do for next season?
All the evil flashes together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, combined.
Yeah, gangbang.
Call it the Flash League, where it's just all
Yeah.
Flash.
League of Anti-Flashes.
Yeah. So Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, if you have a PS4, I think get it. If you have an Xbox One, just buy Mega Man 9 and 10, and then you can find some other way if you want to play Mega Man 8, I guess. But that's what I would do.
It is only $20 though, right?
Well, it's $30.
Oh.
But Mega Man 9 and 10, you can usually get them on sale. Like, they're usually $10 each, but they go on sale all the time. And usually you can get them for like $2 each. So it's way cheaper to do it that way.
Good deal.
I also played a little game called Persona 5.
Oh yeah,
you
that's a
finally
video
played
game.
it.
Brock
Yeah.
kept saying, "Why haven't you played this game, Ryan?" Well, I finally played Persona 5, and let me tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, Brock was absolutely right. That game's amazing.
I'm deeply confused that you hadn't played that game sooner, especially knowing how much you love anime.
It's not
I'm
that.
very confused
The
by
game
that.
is so long.
Yeah.
It's 95 hours long, and I wanted to make sure I had a time to play it where I wouldn't want to play like something else or stop playing it essentially.
Did you
because-
finish it?
No, I'm only 30 hours in.
Okay.
I've beaten the second palace of 8.
Right.
And I'm
Okay.
30 hours in.
Right.
So it's a long ass game. It's going to take me forever to beat it. But I wanted, because the thing about an RPG that long is if you stop playing it, you'll never go back to it. So that was my whole point of why I didn't play it right away.
Do you have what's his name, Mr. Freeze?
Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, he's one of the personas. He looks like a little snowman. He's really cute.
the
Jack
tiny
Frost.
snowman?
Jack Frost.
I do not have a Jack Frost because I didn't bother catching one.
He's one of the ones that's like in all of the Persona games.
Yeah. He was in the Museum Palace, which is the second palace.
Yeah.
And I ran into him a million times, but I already had 3 personas that all had ice attacks. I'm like,
So you
I
mean?
don't need another one.
Excuse me. You mean Bufu?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bufu.
You know too much about this. Honestly, it's been so long since I'd played a Persona game because I hadn't played Persona 4 since
Yeah.
like PS2 days.
Yeah.
It's a long time ago.
I was playing Persona 4 Golden on my my Vita.
Yeah.
Which, if you never played it and you've got a Vita and you're like, I need something to play on my Vita, go get Persona 4 Golden right now because it's fucking awesome.
Because Persona 4 is a great game. And it's a great portable game, I think, too. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I almost wish that Persona 5 was a portable game because I actually probably would have started it by now if it was.
Yeah.
But Persona 5 is amazing. I'm going to talk about that more when I actually finish it because my goal is to finish it before the end of the month.
Yay. Good luck.
That's going to happen.
Well, you put like 20 million hours into Final Fantasy 14 in a
I'm
month,
getting to
so
We believe in you.
It's happening.
Oh no.
All right, so Final Fantasy 14 update for you folks at home. I have beaten the Savage Omega Deltascape, which is basically the hard mode for the raid.
excuse me, what?
So the raids have normal difficulty and quote unquote Savage difficulty, which is basically hard mode, which is basically the hardest content in the entire game.
Okay, and then what's Savage Omega? What?
The Omega Deltascape is the raid that's currently available. Omega Deltascape. Okay, for those of you who have played Final Fantasy V before. There's a boss in that game called Omega, and he's a big robot.
Yeah.
And he's able to basically have worlds contained inside of him.
Yeah.
So you go inside Omega in order to fight all these bosses from different Final Fantasy games. And this time around, they did bosses from Final Fantasy V. So you're fighting
Right, well,
X-Death.
X-Death,
And
which
some
is
other
that's kind
enemies,
of cool.
Which is really awesome. In fact, there's a special boss on the hard mode that is a special boss from Final Fantasy V that I will not spoil.
See, here's the problem, Ryan. X-Death is just a fucking tree in the original Final Fantasy V. He's just a really mean tree.
He's also a really mean dude with a cool sword and cool armor.
Okay. He's both of those things.
He's both. But
Do you
also-
fight his true form as the evil tree?
Yes. Spoiler alert, that's the final boss.
Have you
Evil
played this
tree.
game more than anyone else?
No.
No, there's
But I'm in
definitely
the-
people who are way more into it than Ryan is, and that terrifies me.
That is scary. Please don't have
But I've
me.
basically literally beaten all the hard mode content, so I've literally beaten everything I can beat now
Yeah.
in that game.
All right.
At least once. I even have my little X-Death minion that I posted on Twitter. He's a little X-Death that follows you around. He throws his sword around and stuff. It's really cool. Really cool.
I'm so
that's
happy
funny.
that you like that game so much.
I love like the weirdness. I like look, other games are weird too, but like video games get into just weird levels, especially when they get into like, just like they have like their own weird vocabulary to them. But especially like Final Fantasy games because they're translations of like fantasy content from Japan, and then now it's been filtered through years of like nostalgia, and now we've got like Final Fantasy 14 regurgitating that. So we've got like just hearing Ryan talk about this is like yeah, I had an acid trip like that once too. I once went into the desert, ate peyote, and was in the Savage Omega scape too.
Fighting Tree Man.
Hey, at least they got the music right too, because all the music in the raid is all the music from Final Fantasy V, which is awesome.
That's very cool.
I really like Final Fantasy V.
You're the only one.
I've never heard anyone say they like Final
Yeah.
Fantasy V.
So one of the cool
Between
things,
4, 5, and 6, 5 is definitely the weakest.
Yes.
well, now what's
Yeah.
going to happen is they've sort of alluded to there are other worlds in Omega from other Final Fantasy games.
That's very
So
cool.
it sounds like we might get we might get to fight Kefka.
Yes.
We might get to fight like Ultros and some other villains.
Yes, Ultros, yes.
We might get to fight like Sephiroth or people from Final Fantasy 7 or 8 or 9 or
no,
I mean,
Sephiroth.
they,
You've lost me.
the
Yeah.
well is deep from them to pull bosses from, so this is
That's
really
fair.
cool. Plus, there is a 24-man raid coming called Return to Ivlis,
Yep.
which is coming soon, which is basically you going to Ivlis, which is the world from Final Fantasy 12 and Tactics,
Oh, yeah.
and fighting enemies from there.
Yeah, cat people and shit.
Yeah,
Tactics is now out on mobile, apparently.
yeah.
I'm going to download that.
And I think it's the War of the Lions port that from PSP, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is quite good. It's
Yeah,
quite good.
It's good. It's one of the best PSP games.
Engineers are cool. They have guns.
Yeah.
I'm going to download that.
Yeah.
Well, they're called machinists, Drew.
I think maybe in the translation I
Or
played,
maybe on the translation, they're engineers, because in every other Final Fantasy game, they're
they're
called
all
machinists.
machinists.
Did
Yeah.
you play Tacoma this week?
I did not play it.
Oh, Space Lesbians, the game.
I did.
Oh, that's one of those
I
games you played
forgot.
this week.
It wasn't.
That's how memorable it was.
Well, I got about halfway, and now the game won't open on my Xbox, and it won't delete, so I can't reinstall it. So
That's-
it's just kind of stuck there.
That's problematic.
And I'm kind of over it. I was not feeling the story. It was not like Gone Home.
I heard it was more disappointing than I would have expected.
That's too bad.
It's really annoying too.
Yeah.
So you jokingly alluded to this also having there's like a same sex relationship in this game as well. Is that were you just goofing on Gone Home, or is there also like space
Just don't
lesbians?
spoil it.
Yeah, there's some space lesbians. You don't see any scissoring though. So
Yeah, you asked.
disappointment.
I'm gonna say that would probably be pretty challenging in space. I think sex in space, in general, would be pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah. The astronauts do say that it is very hard to do.
Yeah.
You'd have to like take off all your clothes and
I
like.
want to feel like
Imagine
you
opening a condom in space. I can barely open one in like real life.
Yeah, like
Just kidding. I don't wear
it
condoms.
slips out of your hand. And
TMI, man.
I think you maybe have to get some like bungee cords involved or something.
Oh, that could be hot.
Yeah, like, you know, like, strap each other
50
together.
Shades
Of
Space.
50 Shades
I
of
got nothing.
the dark side of the moon. I don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Just play Pink Floyd and bang with your bungee cords.
Yeah. I mean, that's too bad because I mean, like Gone Home.
Gone Home was an amazing game.
Yes.
I think part of what made Gone Home great was that it did what it did for the first time. Basically, it combined a bunch of elements for the first time.
And it was
I don't know
like,
if you can just take that shit, put it in space, and call it a day.
it was
Well,
a small scale too. Like this feels way too ambitious.
Yeah.
Apparently,
I
you
think
can
that's
finish the game by just not doing anything.
Yeah.
The game, if you just don't touch the controls.
9 hours. You have
Yeah.
to sit there and just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there are the other people who work at Fulbright also work on other games. Like Nina Freeman, for example, is someone who's worked on a whole bunch of games. That a lot of them are similar to Gone Home and have all been really good. Like I'm actually a big fan of hers because I think that she puts out some really good games, like Sebel, which is all about MMOs. So of course I like it. Or even a game like Kimmy, which is like a 1950s game about a little girl, but somehow it just the emotional resonance is there, just like Gone Home is.
Yeah.
Whereas the game like Gone Home, Tacoma, yeah, like it sounds like almost like they were given too much money or they were too ambitious or something like that. Like they tried to shoot for the moon and just didn't get there.
I get it. Shoot for the moon.
Yeah, see, there you go.
So
It's annoying because you like walk in a room and you'll hear someone like talk, and then they'll walk into a different room, and then there'll be like other people in the room, and like you have to just go around and like listen to them, but like it all gets convoluted and messy, and like you don't really care what's going on. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I'm gonna finish it if it ever opens up on my
Is-
Xbox.
is that gonna
I
go
also
under-
can't find any games on my Xbox because the new UI is so bad.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
because you're on the preview
Yeah,
program.
it is not great. I am not a fan.
That's too bad.
It needs some serious tweaks.
So if there are any programmers out there, I'm reaching out to you, the audience. If
That's
you
you.
have any experience, like we know that the Xbox developer program is coming back, like the Xbox creators program rather. So
It came out this week.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you're interested in creating a game, Brock and I we're starting a studio. Our first title, we're putting it together. We're working on our design doc right now. We'd like some programmers to come on board. Space fucking simulator 2017. We'd like to
Well,
get it out by
2018,
the.
I think, by the time it'll come out.
I'm aiming for 2017.
Okay,
Because I like
okay.
2018. I want to add some new content.
Nice.
Like underwater.
Ooh.
Yeah. And like maybe
We're hoping to get James Cameron for that, right?
yeah. Well, we're gonna do mocap in the environments naturally, so we're gonna go up to space. We're gonna bone.
Yeah,
and we're gonna mocap it.
And I want James Cameron in the mocap. I don't want him directing. I just want to see him bang.
yeah, totally. So
He's got a tight little
reaching
bod.
out to you, the audience. Get in touch with us.
Someone's got to do it, right?
Yeah. Space boning simulator. 2017.
Yep.
And we'll do yearly like annual
I was just gonna say,
content.
if you have the year on it, does it mean it's a yearly installment?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like-
Just like farming simulator or truck driving simulator, etc.
Well, I mean, at least you're not going to pull an Unreal Tournament because Unreal Tournament started doing that with Unreal Tournament 2003. Then they did 2004, and then that was the end of Unreal Tournament.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Unreal Tournament's a good.
One might say that having sex in space is an Unreal Tournament.
And that's when the show went off the rails. 45 minutes into the
Aren't you glad to have me back?
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
I mean, let's watch less Bubsy this week.
Fuck's sakes. I was just about to say we haven't heard from Bubsy all day.
Yeah.
But nope, we got a Bubsy drop.
The fact that you thought it, I just knew, bro.
Yeah.
I knew that you were thinking it. There's one other game that I played this week as well that I do want to do sort of an in-depth discussion on later. We just don't have a ton of time today. But Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice I played this week. $40 game, 6.5 hours. One of the best games I played this year. Hands down. It is an amazing game. It's kind of, and this is sort of how I broke it down for you guys. It's kind of like a walking simulator like Dear Esther mixed with Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Except not as hard as Dark Souls.
So this is from our friends at Ninja Theory.
Yep. Makers of Devil May Cry and Enslaved and Heavenly Sword.
Yes. It is a really trippy game where, so you have first of all, this is probably one of the prettiest looking games that's come out in a long time. It's absolutely stunning to look at.
If any game is an advertisement for PS4 Pro, it's this game.
Yeah. There's great depth of field effects. There's awesome dynamic hair effects and stuff like that. It's set during the Viking times, and the main character is she walks around with the skull of her lover in a bag.
Yep.
And
she's trying to resurrect him essentially.
she's kind of a little Looney Tunes.
Well, no, she suffers from psychosis.
Yeah. So this game is really intense. If there's a bunch of warnings at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
My advice would be that if you have trouble dealing with stuff like mental health stuff, if that's a thing that you're sensitive to, don't play this game.
Yeah.
It's really, really intense.
But she's such an empowering character, and one of the things I love about her is that she's such a strong female character, which we don't see too often.
Yeah.
She is suffering from this mental illness, but she perseveres through it in order to basically try and bring back basically her lover, and it's a really touching story. It's fantastic from top to bottom. The audio design, especially, out of for someone who loves great sound design, this is one of the best audio design games I've ever seen, because you should play it with headphones. First of all, if you plan on playing this game at all, it actually tells you in the game as well you should play it with headphones. It's recommended because basically there's no HUD in this game. There's no UI. There's all other than going to the pause menu and seeing the basic controls. It doesn't really tell you anything else on screen. She basically hears voices in her head that sort of instruct you on how to do things. Or, for example, if there's an enemy behind you, it'll be behind you, and so then you'll know to dodge or to block or whatever.
Combat's pretty cool.
Yep. And it's very much like Dark Souls, except not as hard. There was also, I'm going to spoil this for you guys as well, because this is all over the internet now. It's something that happens very early in the game, but it tells you, and that basically to ramp up tension, that if you die too many times, your save gets deleted.
Yeah.
There's permadeath in this game.
Yeah.
Which is just, the first time I saw that, I freaked out. I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to complete this game without my save being deleted? Unfortunately, it's been debunked at this point, which kind of makes me sad, because I kind of wish we didn't know at this point that was the thing that existed, because none of us knew this going into this game. No one had said anything about it going in.
I hadn't even heard of this game.
Yeah.
Up until it came out.
Yeah, up until it came out, I watched
some
Let's Play of it, and I was like, huh?
They announced it at PSX, Paris Games Week 2 or 3 years ago. It was the same event they announced Wild, which is Michelle Ancel's game that is never coming out apparently. So, it's been in the works forever. It's just that this game was made by 12 people at Ninja Theory, because Ninja Theory, one of the things a lot of people don't know about Ninja Theory is they have their hands in a lot of contract work for other games.
Yeah.
So things like Disney Infinity, they did the combat for Disney Infinity and things like that. So
they didn't do it. This is interesting. They didn't do the combat for it right away. They stepped in to basically fix Disney Infinity.
When 2.0 came out is when they came in.
And they were working on that for a while. And Ninja Theory is a cool studio. They do some really interesting stuff.
Fulbright's the same way too, because Fulbright also does contract work for other companies as well.
Enslaved is probably a really underrated game. It's very cool. Featuring the voice and capture talent of Andy Serkis.
Yeah. This time around, they didn't have to do that. It's actually kind of funny, because they talk about this in the documentary, because when you boot up the menu, there's actually a documentary about the whole making of this game. They had one of their video editors come in. Basically, they wanted her to come in and sort of test the mocap equipment so they knew it worked. So when they actually had an actress to portray this person, that it would work out okay. She did such a good job with the mocap that they were just like, well, you get to be this character now.
Yeah.
She does all the performance capture, all the voices. Her performance is amazing in this game. Like one of the best motion capture performances I've seen in a while, where it's basically almost like a one-man show.
Yeah.
Whereas she's doing all the performances herself.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Well, I'm gonna play this tonight.
Yeah. I think it's definitely worth a pickup. It's definitely going to be a sleeper hit, I think, on a lot of people's games.
A lot of people are talking about it already. Yeah, like it's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about it more later, but we do have other topics to talk about on this show.
Holy shit.
45 minutes in, we've done one topic. So topic 2, microtransactions, everyone's favorite topic, segueing out of what we've been playing. So Middle-earth Shadow of War has been sort of a big hot button game this week because they announced that as a single player game, there will be microtransactions in this game. So I'm going to sort of break down just from WB's forum where they sort of announced that this is the case, what's going to be, but this is sort of more going to be a bigger discussion about microtransactions in general. So you are able to purchase in-game, like in an in-game store, you're able to purchase loot chests, war chests, XP boosts, and bundles. So here's what each do. So loot chests contain gear of varying rarity. Equipping and upgrading these weapons and armors enhances Talion's character abilities. Loot chests can also contain XP bonuses that help you level Talion faster. War chests provide orc followers for a varying rarity to help forge a strong army, because this game is all about building your orc army, basically to take down other orc armies, I guess. They can also contain training orders to level up and customize your orc followers. You can also buy XP boosts that just help level faster. And then there's bundles that include war chests and all the other stuff that I just mentioned. There's 2 different types of in-game currency in this game. There's a currency called Mirian, which is basically obtained throughout the game, just like you would any other game where you get gold or any other currency in a game. But there's also gold, a currency purchased using real-world dollars or obtained in small increments for specific milestone or community challenges. So the internet, when they heard this news, freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because if there's one thing people don't like, it's like loot block boxes and microtransactions in single-player only games.
Yep.
This game has like an online ranked battle system where you can battle one fortress against another fortress, because I guess building your fortress in this game is a big deal. That's sort of the crux of the game. But other than that, it's basically single player only. So I'm going to start with you, Drew. What do you think about microtransactions in single player games just in general?
Fuck them.
Yeah.
I hate them. I hate it. I want to know how much a game costs. I want to pay that much money, and then I want to have the game. I don't want to have to keep doing anything else. I don't want a game as service. I don't want I want to pay a monthly fee. I don't want to pay $5 every time I want to actually play the game and have it be fun. Like everything from mobile games where they're like, this game is unbearably slow unless you pay microtransactions. It's basically you can do one thing and then come back 24 hours later and then do the next thing unless you give us $20 right now. What these things do is they prey on a very basic thing, basic human cognitive thing, right? Video games, they all do various things. There's a really great video that Danny O'Dwyer did when he was still with GameSpot, which was called Destiny, the Hardcore Gamers, what's it called? The one-armed bandit, the slot machine.
Okay.
The Hardcore Gamer slot machine. Where there's literally parts of our brain, parts that we don't necessarily have fully control over, that just light up and get really happy when certain sounds and when we get rewarded and stuff like that, basic things like that. Another one is people hate having a sense of things being left undone. So one of the classic ones is if I start a sentence but
I finish it.
If nobody finishes it,
Yeah.
did you feel that tension immediately when
There
I
was so much
stopped?
tension
There was enough tension and so much that Brock felt compelled that he wanted to finish the sentence because it's uncomfortable, right? That's just that's human nature. we like things to go in a certain order. That's why we like stories that have a beginning, middle, and an end. That's why we like, again, like we like finality. We like to know that things complete. When you play a game, like when I do an input, I expect an output. When I play Zelda, if I push the jump button and he jumps, I expect him to land, right? Like if you tell me that I have to pay an extra $5 to make him land, that would be infuriating. Now that's on a very sort of small level. Now you can do that on sort of like a bigger sort of peak. So one of the ways you can do this is like role-playing games is a great example of this.
And this is something that I was going to bring up because RPGs have been doing this for years. Things like the Tales series, ever since Tales of Vesperia, have been doing this where there's like level upgrades and item. Like if you're running out of potions, you can buy them with real world dollars and things like that. Like,
which is gross as fuck. Yeah. Because again, the reality is that people. The expectation is that, like, you know, the classic one is what's called, you know, the coin doubler is something they talk about like on Giant Bomb a lot. Yeah. The whole idea that like you have an X amount of currency and that's how much you can play the game. And then as you play the game, you get more coins, but inevitably you will run out of coins and you'll have to stop. Yeah. Right? Unless you buy the coin doubler, in which you get twice as many coins rewarded to you, so therefore you never have to stop. The reality is that, like, the game, you know, like, and in RPGs, it's quite simple. It's, you know, like your progression. The progression is an important part of the game, right? You have areas, and to get to the next area, you have to reach a certain level, right? That's one of the basic concepts of any game that has any kind of linear numeric progression, which is like any RPG, like, you know, Final Fantasy or Dark Souls or anything, right? Like you can't just go to the next area. You have to earn that. Right. Now, if I told you that there are one of two ways that you could do this, you could start playing the game and you just have to play through the first area 4 times, then you can go to the next area, or you can play through the area just one time, but you just have to give me an extra $20, right? Like the game itself doesn't change. No. The experience doesn't change. The reality is it's just like you get frustrated because you get to the end of the area and you're left hanging. You're like, okay, it's like you got to the end, almost to the end of the sentence, but nobody completed it, right? So like you keep doing that first part over and over again, waiting for that input, right? And then eventually you get rewarded. And they just basically bank on the cumulative anxiety of you keep getting to that point until you finally go like, I will pay anything for this relief. It seems like such a simple thing because the answer is just don't play the game then. If that makes you feel uncomfortable or unhappy, it's either tough it out or don't play the game. But the reality is that they're actually preying on a very real emotional and psychological journey that every single human being goes through to some degree. And some people are more susceptible to it than others. And the same way that some people are more likely to become gambling addicts than other people, right? And that's kind of gross that you're just taking advantage of people. If WB said, no, like we had to do this, otherwise we couldn't finance the game just cost too much money to make, then I would just say like, fine, tell me how much I have to pay so that I don't have to do this shit, right? And make it one fucking price. Don't make me have to keep coming back. But the reality is, part of this is they want to go to the games as service model, right? Which is what Overwatch does. It's what Dota does. Those games have reached a point where they keep having money come in, but they don't have to do a lot to the game. They don't have to radically change it every single time. That's the whole games as service model. The idea that you're not buying a product, you're buying a service, and you keep buying into it. And it's just a matter of way that how can we trick people and do that? Because the reality is that people don't want to pay a monthly service fee for a lot of games. I mean, look at every number of RPGs that have gone free to play over the last 10, 15 years, right?
Out of all the MMOs, there's only really like 2 that are left that are still pay every month, and that's Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft.
Even Star Wars couldn't do that. Yeah. They made what is, by all accounts, a pretty decent Star Wars MMO. Yeah. I'm not counting Galaxies, by the way.
No, I mean, the Old Republic, the story in the Old Republic's really good. Like, it's just as good as any other BioWare game. It's just a matter of, they couldn't sell people on it.
Yeah. So they've had to basically trick people into going to games as a service. Now, and loot boxes are one of the ways to do it. And again, it's the same sort of thing. Like, if you get a box but you don't have a key, there's this thing in the back of your brain that just itches. Like, you just have to fucking do it. It's like, I've got to get the key. I got to know, right? And then especially when they do, like Dota, they were doing stuff where like the boxes were seasonal. So like,
Yep.
Eventually what happened is you couldn't buy the keys for those boxes anymore.
Overwatch does that too, where the loot boxes during specific events, if you don't play in that time period and don't get all of them in that time period, you lose those items basically forever.
Yeah.
Or not lose them, but you won't be able to.
You can't earn them, and that drives people crazy too. Look, the reality is this shit is all around us, and I get at least with games like Overwatch and stuff like that. I mean, this is the thing, we're making the distinction between single player and multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Multiplayer games, there's a little bit more value to it because at least when you get these things, other people can appreciate them and you can get some kind of joy from people saying like, oh, I can't believe you have that sweet fucking skin.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing. I still think it's shitty, but I think it's even shittier when it's in a single player game where, there is no other output. It's just basically like they're holding you hostage. Like, could you imagine if you bought a car and they said, oh, like, well, by default, it comes with a gas tank that only holds 5 liters, right? You pay $20,000 for the car, and it comes with a small gas tank. The reality is that, like, and it's the gas tank is actually like 400 liters, but you can only use 5 of it because we put a little wall into it. If you want to use more, you can pay us an extra like $70, and then you can use the full gas tank for like 3 days.
Yeah.
People would be fucking incensed. Like, people would lose their minds.
You think? Or like if you're watching a movie and it gets to like 45 minutes in, and you're like, if you want to keep watching this movie, you got to give us an extra $10.
Yeah. Like, to see the end, like, people would
or you
just...
can get to the end of the movie faster if you pay $10.
Well, yeah, like, or you have to watch like a bunch of inane scenes where like it's just like like you have to watch like it's like what imagine watching was it the Winter Soldier, and there's just like cut into the movie. There's just a bunch of scenes of like them eating. Yeah. Like, in between, they're just sitting there eating, and like you have to watch like Bucky eat his protein cubes for 30 minutes. He's just like slowly eating them.
And he eats a lot of protein.
Yeah, or like Cap and like
you'll just have to watch the falafel scene.
Yeah, you'll have to watch. Yeah, you'll have to watch for
like half an hour, or you can skip it.
Yeah, the shawarma scene. The shawarma scene.
The shawarma scene.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
The shawarma scene was actually a reward for people. That's kind of funny, but that would drive people fucking crazy. Like, we don't put up with it in other industries. Like, just because like video games kind of have us over a barrel a little bit with some of this stuff. Yeah. So my advice, the best way to do this is, it's not like in this particular case we talk about like we hate pre-ordering shit and the pre-order bonuses, and we just say, well, just don't pre-order stuff. Like, I don't think the solution for this problem is don't buy the game. You can still buy the game. Don't buy the microtransactions.
Exactly.
Don't fall for that. Realize that what they're doing, and if you're getting frustrated, try to like, commune with yourself. Maybe go meditate and realize that, okay, this is a trick that my brain is playing on me. Mm-hmm. Everything is fine. Like, this is just the pace at which the game is played. Mm-hmm. I don't need to spend some gold to get a better castle or some shit.
Yeah, and part of me feels like they wouldn't be doing this if they didn't think there was. They were able to strike that balance between making it still fun for people who don't pay.
Yeah.
Because, again, we see this from RPGs all the time. Like, Tales of Berseria is a game I loved that had these types of microtransactions in them, but I didn't pay for any of them, and I still really enjoyed the game. I didn't feel like it really lagged in parts. And I hope that that's what WB takes away from this, is that, sure, it can get, like, the XP boost can get you where you want to go faster, but the game's still fine without it. That's just what I'm hoping from them. And
you are going to be overpowered if you're paying money.
Yeah, exactly. I have trust in WB where I think that's going to be okay. But I just don't like the idea of seeing loot boxes in single player games, especially for non-cosmetic items.
Yeah.
It's just cosmetic items, fine. That doesn't affect anything. But in non-cosmetic items, especially in this online leaderboard mode between fortresses, where it sounds like you're going to have to get work followers in order to do that, but some of the best ones might be locked behind the war chest.
Yeah.
which you have to pay real more dollars for. So it just, that's sort of where we're sort of splitting hairs.
I can tell you folks at home today confirming Sex in Space Simulator 2017 will not have microtransactions.
Zero microtransactions. We originally considered that just before the orgasm, which is, oh, by the way, you can't finish the game unless you have a mutual simultaneous orgasm. Just before that, originally there was going to be a paywall to reach that. You had to buy the special space vibrator and space cock ring, and that was going to be $3.99.
And the special Michael Bolton album.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
Oh, even better.
You can't finish without hearing some Bolton.
I thought that was the day one DLC you guys were packing in.
Yeah.
So there's going to be no microtransactions, but there's going to be day one DLC.
Oh, there's going to be so much DLC.
So that's
one.
locked on the disc until you pay for it.
Yeah. The
pretty
special cock enhancer. Yeah.
Speaking of cock, I'm very excited to play Conan this week. But
Take
regardless, microtransactions are the worst. I get it on mobile when they're like free games. I mean, the developers got to get paid somehow.
Yeah, free to play games.
Even if it's they have to fucking trick you into paying money.
But the idea is when you play a free to play game, you expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For when you're paying $80 for a game like Shadow Mortar or whatever it's called, it's real fucking annoying.
Yeah. Especially because there is a $150 version of this game that just comes with a whole bunch of war boxes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
are you telling me like Warner Brothers is $150 the real cost of this game? Like if that's really how much it
because
costs?
the $150 version also comes with the season pass, which has all the DLC in it too. But it's like it gives you more war chests.
It's also a war chest too, so you might not even get everything. So now you're just blowing money. That is really annoying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you do get the other DLC, but it's still like a lot to ask for a game.
Yeah. It's hateful shit, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on because we've been here for an hour already. We're gonna sort of quickly power through the news because we do have another topic we want to talk about in a second. So, first news story: the PC version of Sonic Mania, I alluded to it earlier, has been delayed until August 29th.
Who's playing Sonic on the PC?
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I
In
know,
fact,
it's strange.
the PC is probably going to be the platform it sells best on.
Yeah.
That is
Or
so
PS4.
Is it going on Steam?
Gotta
Yeah,
go fast.
it's on Steam. That's
That
right.
is so weird.
it's
All the
interesting.
other Sonic games are on Steam.
Most furries don't play on consoles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you knew that.
Surprisingly, though, Brock, the keyboard actually does a pretty good job, acting as sort of your D-pad.
Weird.
So
Yeah.
for games like that, I think it actually works kind of well. There's also, again, every Sonic game that's ever existed is also on Steam. So Sonic CDs, all the Genesis Sonic games are all on Steam. So it kind of makes sense. Next up, in an incoming patch, Gun Media has said that they will be removing team killing from Friday the 13th. Thank God. It's being removed from the public matches, not private matches. So if you still want to kill your teammates, play a private match with people.
Yeah. It's because people were basically
Teaming up with Jason and killing all the other people.
Yeah. They were playing that game as though like they didn't want to win, they just wanted to kill everybody else. It was kind of interesting.
It was really random.
It was a weird meta game. It was like all of a sudden it was like, Jason now has some like weird cult of Jason and people are like helping him murder people. It's
Just
weird.
another reason to not like this game.
The worst part about it too is since you can see all your other fellow counselors on the map, you can't hide from them or anything. They can just find you wherever you are, or they'll just run up. They'll run to you, drawing the noise so then Jason knows exactly where.
I'd be so stoked to wait an hour to get into a game to only be killed by my fucking teammates.
Actually, again, the queue times are good at least on PS4, but it's just.
So you bought it. You bought it again. You bought it twice.
I told you I bought it on PS4.
I didn't know this. I don't listen. You
You
just talk about Final Fantasy.
This happened 2 months ago. I like Friday the 13th, but yeah, that was the thing that was keeping me away from it. So I think that them fixing this is going to bring me back in this game because I really like that game. Next up, speaking of multiplayer games, in Overwatch's next large patch, Blizzard will be bringing a free-for-all and team deathmatch modes to the game. It'll be played on a new deathmatch focused map, Chateau Gillard, and it's on the PTR version of the PC version of Overwatch now, so you can go play it. It's on PTR is the public test realms where you can go test things early, so you can go play the deathmatch mode there. Kind of interesting because this game is all about team focusedness and metagaming the other team essentially with your hero picks. So it'll be interesting to see how it works in deathmatch. Like I'm kind of interested to see how free for all deathmatches.
Would the offensive characters like just wreck house in this? Would like it just be like Soldier 70?
I don't know. The tanks have a
and shit
lot
like
of
that.
health.
Yeah.
Like being Reinhardt or someone like that, you have a cool shield. You can absorb a lot of damage with that.
Diva.
Yeah, or Diva.
This is a weird announcement. Weren't they like very anti-team deathmatch?
Yeah, and it really took it. The game's been out for over a year now, and they're finally doing it. So
weird.
There's also a big summer update.
There's
Yeah,
summer games going on,
yeah.
which was last year as well. They're Olympic themed mode.
But not officially sanctioned by the Olympic Games and not featuring the official Olympic logo TM.
But Overwatch is going to be in the Olympics in 2024, isn't it?
They keep talking about esports being in the Olympics. I don't know how that's going to
I thought it was confirmed.
It's not confirmed.
No.
France is trying to spearhead it.
Yeah. We'll make that like a topic maybe
I'll
next
be there
week.
for my country.
Also,
Don't worry.
will people still be playing Overwatch in 2024?
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the hard thing about esports in the Olympics. I'm just going to segue real quick about that. Esports in the Olympics, while it makes sense and is a good idea, basically planning like 4 years ahead and having a game that's still relevant by then is going to be tough. Because even something like League of Legends and Dota is going to have a certain lifespan to it. People are eventually going to stop playing those games. They're not going to last forever.
So the real question is going to be for esports in the Olympics. What's going to be the esports players' position in the orgies? Because everybody knows that the Olympics is just one big fuck party because it's a bunch of super young, super fit people that don't speak each other's languages but are just really horny.
Nick Robinson would love it.
Yeah. Yes.
We're going to talk about that later.
Yeah. We were going to talk very seriously about that.
But Brock, you just ruined it.
Oh, boy.
I like ruining the mood.
Anyways, let's get
so
to the
esports players, they're going to be at a disadvantage for that. That's my point.
Yeah. All right, last two stories. Capcom has announced that Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen is coming to PS4 and Xbox One on October 3rd. Dragon's Dogma is a game that people really like. It's a third-person action RPG. I've never played it, but it's like Kingdoms of Amalur or Fable or something like that.
Oh, you have my attention?
Yeah, it's a game it's a cult classic, so I think a lot of people like that game. And last but not least, Valve announced their very first game since Dota 2,
StarCraft Ghost.
Artifact.
That would be hilarious.
They're making it for Blizzard.
Yeah.
Artifact, the Dota 2 card game, will release sometime in 2018.
So they're
Get hype, motherfuckers.
yeah, they're making a Hearthstone essentially.
Also, fun fact before we move on, Brock, I know how much you love cards, so I'm going to tell you all about this.
Love them.
In Final Fantasy XIV, there's a class called the Astrologian, which is a healer. The Astrologian uses cards in order to heal people, and depending on the card you draw, it gives you different buffs and things like that.
Wow, he sounds fun.
I like the Astrologian.
All right.
That's usually what I play when I'm not a ninja, because ninja is my class in Final Fantasy XIV. I like ninja too.
I do not know where ninjas fit in to Final Fantasy, but
Ninja's been in Final Fantasy for a long time.
Really?
Yeah, like Final Fantasy
They're
4, I think, was the first time we saw ninja.
They're essentially the prestige class of thief. So you start with thief, and then you work your way up to ninja. There's like samurai is like a class.
They're basically like swordsmen, and they become samurai.
Yeah.
And likewise, the rogues become ninjas. In fact, that's pretty prevalent in Japanese RPGs in general.
Yep.
Like
Ninja?
stuff like Shining Force, for example, is another game, or Fire Emblem. Like your rogues become ninjas.
The weird thing about Final Fantasy, like early on, had like the job system, which was basically classes, right? So very early on, like anybody could be any class, and you just develop them into whatever class you like them to be. And then they kind of moved away from that, and just like each individual character was representative of a particular class. So like the female healer, so like Eris is essentially like a white mage, right? They just stopped saying it out and out after Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Because Final Fantasy VI was the first one where you couldn't customize the jobs.
So there was a ninja in Final Fantasy VI.
And he's awesome.
He's one of the best characters in the game.
Yeah. Because he's a ninja.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about the 15 games that came out this week. Woohoo! All right. Number 1, Hellblade came out this week. Cool game. You should go play it. Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, I talked about that. Batman: The Evil Within Episode 1, The Enigma is out. Lawbreakers, the new game from Cliffy B,
Yeah.
out.
oh, Drew, I know you'll be jumping on that one, right?
Fucking Cliffy B.
I'm actually not hearing great things about
No, it does not
Apparently,
look good.
it's got huge bugs. Like I've heard stuff of like it's
I've
got
heard-
issues, but like by all accounts, like people
should
are
be
saying
fun.
it's got a lot of promise.
Yeah.
And it's it's a game that they're working on.
Yeah.
So
Icy came out this week. It's a it's a third-person side-scrolling melee action game. It looks really cool.
Okay.
Very anime inspired. So
Cool.
of course, it's got my attention. The Escapist 2, that prison simulator.
That game is so wildly popular.
Yeah, a lot of people like that game. I don't understand why.
Wasn't for me.
Yeah,
It's not for me.
It's not for me either, so I don't know. StarCraft Remastered comes out this week. Get hyped, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that tomorrow night, actually. On Monday night. It's exciting.
That's pretty cool.
Matterfall.
I have a review of that on Tuesday.
Matterfall?
Yep.
Oh my god. I'm excited to hear about this.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard about it.
I love Housemarque.
Oh.
It's the new game from Housemarque, makers of Resogun
Yeah.
and Super Stardust.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because we brought this up when Nex Machina came out 2 months ago, which was also a Housemarque game.
That's what happens when Brock goes on vacation in a drug-fueled haze.
Yeah.
He
Well, Matterfall-
loses all his short-term memory.
There was a lot of acid.
Well, Nex Machina was made up of like most of the team that worked on Alien Nation, as well as Eugene Jarvis, the creator of Tempest. Whereas Matterfall is like the Resogun team's new game,
Yeah.
essentially, because they have 2 teams there, essentially, which is cool. Sonic Mania.
Yes.
Thank God.
Yay.
We have a new Sonic game, and it looks awesome.
Made
And
by
from what
people
we-
who love classic Sonic.
Yep.
You know, people
They-
who understand what people actually like about Sonic.
They released the opening animation this week, which totally harkens back to the Sega
It's
CD
so good.
Sonic game. It
Yeah.
looks amazing. I can't
I'm
wait
pumped.
for that game. Agents of Mayhem comes out this week.
Oh, fuck.
The new game from Volition, maker of Saints Row.
Nope. No thanks.
If you pre-order, you can get Johnny Get.
Well, the fun thing about this is I don't like lots of press have this game, and I don't think there's an embargo because I've seen lots of people streaming it. So
Yeah.
there's video out there if you want to go check that out. It's a single player game where instead of switching guns, you switch characters, which is weird.
That is
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
weird.
Uh,
Oh God, this next one.
Yep. Get hyped, everyone. Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition is coming,
fuck.
and I am so excited to play this again. I can't wait to talk about it next week.
I refuse to give these
There's
people
a
fucking
lot
money.
of people excited for this game, and I am very confused.
To be fair, all those people are probably the same people who also owned Sega CDs back in the day. Like because it also came out on PC, I think.
I'm definitely gonna play it. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong. I am gonna play it.
I
I'm
was
just
gonna
gonna
say,
shake my head.
how are you not gonna play it? It's a game based off a not like it basically is a '90s cheesy horror movie with
Yeah.
teenage girls run away from vampires,
I'm pretty into it.
and you have to switch security cameras and traps.
Vampires dressed in garbage bags.
Exactly.
This is the thing that, like, when they upres this game, it's gonna be really obvious that they're just wearing garbage bags and duct tape.
Yep.
That's their costumes.
Why didn't they just remake the game?
Why would they? It's
'Cause-
perfect the way it is.
Um,
It has a really-
I'm going to be really curious to see what this is like, because what did they shoot this on, and what was did they retransfer all the original footage?
they have YouTube footage of this.
Yeah.
Basically released by the developers of what it looks like running in game.
Are they sexy
It looks-
vampires?
It looks
No, the girls. It's like teenage girls that they're going after. Well,
No.
like teenage girls, like, you know,
They're
actresses
obviously
in their
not
20s.
teenagers.
Is there boobies?
No,
Okay.
but
there was controversy that there might be, but there wasn't.
Oh.
Also, fun fact: this was on limited run this week, where you could buy a physical version as well as a physical version that comes with a cassette tape with the Night Trap theme song on it. It sold out in less than like 5 minutes.
And you're one of the owners?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I'm buying the digital version because number one, it'll actually be here on Tuesday, and number two, it'll be cheaper. So I don't have enough things on my shelf, Brock. I don't need more things on my shelf.
I'm really curious to know. I don't have a good feeling about this at all.
Oh, come on. I'm sure it'll be great in a cheesy way.
It's not that. It's that it's a tiny company doing this, and otherwise, this is a pretty complicated and complex project. It'll be interesting to see.
Complicated and complex. Come on, it did all the work for you, man.
Yeah, no. I mean, like, just going back to the original footage,
I know.
Again, that process of like re-telecinning the original process, the footage, and then re-editing it, and then essentially they have to write a whole new engine for it. Like, I'm gonna be
Yeah.
really curious to see what this is.
Good point. I hope there's not too much lag between the cameras because your camera switching ability in that game is really what sells that. For
Yeah.
you. Next up, Undertale is finally coming to PS4. That's that RPG that's like
It's the
Earthbound.
best.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Kids love it. Oh, you should play
You're in
it.
for a treat.
Yeah, man.
I have a pre-order. I'm like, very excited to play it.
It's great.
I don't know if I'm going to play it right away because I'm still playing Persona. But Thumper comes to Xbox One, so now it's on
That
every
game
console.
is so hard.
Yeah.
It's great.
I really liked it. I think it's not as good in VR, not as good outside of VR, but I still think that it's a really cool game. City Skyline comes to consoles this week, which I mentioned earlier. And last but not least, Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma finally comes to PS4 this week. Awesome game. Great if you like visual novels like Danganronpa. I think it's like a puzzle game mixed with a visual novel, so I think it's actually really cool. And I think that if you haven't played it before, obviously you should play the other Zero Escape games first before playing this one. But if you played those and you've missed this somehow because it was only on Vita and 3DS before, you should play it because it's awesome. All right. So, Drew, we have one last topic to talk about that neither Brock and I have or I guess you know more about it than I do.
Brock knows a little bit about it.
Drew, why don't you go ahead and get us started? Why are we talking about Nick Robinson today?
I'm sad. I'm sad because I liked the content that Nick Robinson produced over at Polygon. He was a video producer. He did things like Carboys and Cool Games Inc., both with Griffin McElroy. I am a huge Mabim Bam fan, so I follow everything that the McElroy brothers do. And so Nick got fired from Polygon this week. The circumstances of it, I mean, we could go into the minutia of like what happened when and where and who accused who of what and stuff like that. But the short of it is basically, some people on Twitter, after he said a shitty thing, just basically said, yeah, but like you sexually harass women all the time.
He attacked Overcooked. This was Overcooked on the Switch.
Yes.
This all started from
a tweet about
frustratingly good game.
Yeah. So he basically said some shit about Overcooked. Said like, because the Overcooked devs were like, can you capture some footage of like the game not running so well? And he was like, his tweet was some snarky thing about like, can you capture some shitty footage of our shitty game being shitty? Ha 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 ha. And then people were like, hey, look, Nick, maybe you shouldn't be like sexually harassing women on Twitter so much, and you wouldn't be so grumpy about this shit. And then his employer came out, which is Polygon, and just said, we're aware of the allegations that are being made against him, pending a full investigation. He is being suspended. So, and he went dark. That was August 3rd. We didn't hear much from Nick for a while. And then eventually Polygon, after the long weekend, or what would be our long weekend, I don't know if it's a long weekend for them, came out early this week and just said, yeah, we're letting Nick go. They didn't specify why. They didn't say we're letting Nick go because he's definitely a perv. They just said we're letting Nick go and we wish him the best. So there's a bunch of allegations, and there's all these people saying, well, you need proof, and other people saying, no, you don't need proof, and hashtag believe women and stuff. Here's the reality is that Nick obviously did some bad shit because, whatever happened, he eventually came out and apologized. He said, I'm sorry. I thought it was innocent flirting, but I realized that I have like a power dynamic with my fans and with other people, and I was making people feel uncomfortable. We know that like one of the editors from Kotaku said that, yeah, he made a pass at me and asked, and on Twitter and there other women were saying he asked me for nudes and stuff like that. There's all kinds of fucked up stuff. I don't know how I feel about this, again, because I really like Nick and his content, and a lot of people are saying like, there are a lot of people sort of like either being Nick apologists or a lot of people like trying to tear him down. I think the reality is that the guy made a really stupid fucking mistake. Like he did some really stupid shit. He clearly he feels bad about it now, obviously, because he lost his fucking job.
That apology was so shitty, though. He was like talking about how famous he was. This is like, fuck off, man.
Well, that was the thing that like people were harping on him for, is saying like, well, you have a power dynamic with these people because you're really famous, and that was the thing that he wanted to key into. Which I certainly there's got to be some validity to that. I mean, there's always been that kind of relationship for a long time. Ask anybody who's in a band. There's always a complicated relationship with groupies. And, what that means is like, are we culturally moving away from that shit? Maybe. I don't know. I would hope that we are. This is something that's been going on for a very long time, that, you have people that are famous and they use that fame to get sex. That's just how it is. That's been way for a long time. I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but it has certainly been the state of things. You know, I mean, Brock, you certainly know. You were in bands. You manage bands. You know,
You're the band guy in this
I have a bunch of friends who are in bands. Like, I know the kind of like position that they're in, and the question is, well, like, if you're in that position, do you then have some kind of responsibility? But also, it really seemed like Nick was just like straight up taking advantage of people. It was like he was getting a lot of attention, then he was using that intention to like, to target certain women. Again, we don't know the details of what happened, but we know it was enough for him to get fired. So,
Yeah, because a lot of the stuff they probably can't talk about.
Yeah, I mean, especially like, you have certain legal liabilities. If they came out and said, Nick definitely did this, then he might be able to sue them and all that kind of shit. So it's shitty, again, because I liked the content that Nick generated, but I also respect Polygon's decision to walk away from it. And also I have to look into myself and be like, is this a person I want to continue supporting? And can he possibly... Can he come back from this? I don't know. I know that like he was doing a podcast for a long time before Polygon with some former interns over at Giant Bomb. He was an intern at Giant Bomb along with Ben Pack and Matt Kessler. They have basically said, this sucks. We don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. Griffin and Justin McElroy basically said, we're bummed about this, but like, obviously we don't want to support a person if this is what they're going to do with their fame. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want people to think that I am saying Nick definitely did X, Y, or Z, but also I don't want people to think that I'm denying that there are women out there that have accused him of stuff. I mean, we know that the vast majority of time when women accuse men of sexual harassment or assault, that they're not doing it, they're not falsifying stuff. I mean, the false allegations are like less than 1%. Like, they're it's very, very infrequent. So the fact that so many people came out of the woodwork and said, yeah, there's all these, like, Brock, we were talking about this, these are like people who are drawing up like evidence boards and like crazy conspiracy theories about like he did this and he did this. Like, the reality is, yeah, I think the short answer is we know that Nick is a creep. He's creeped people out and he's made people feel uncomfortable. And I think that's all we really need to know. At this point, I think it's up to Nick now to be a decent human being from here on out. If he wants to continue working in games journalism, he's obviously got to go. Number one, he's got to get a new job. Number two, he's got to figure out how to clean up his image. I don't know. Do you come back from something like this?
Well, as most popular YouTubers have shown, you can be a piece of shit and racist and still have your fans.
That's very true. I mean,
so I don't think it'll hurt him. Like, a lot of guys in gaming are very like horrible people. Like, the Gamergate shit showed us that.
Yeah,
like, I'm sure he'll find his fans.
JonTron still gets millions of views, and he's a guy who was saying like, we should send all the Mexicans back or some shit. I don't know.
Jesus.
Yeah. Like, the dude's very, like, JonTron's very intense. He was very open with his, what would be, at least my interpretation would be like very sort of racist, shitty sentiments. So
kids will still like him.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything. They just will like him.
Yeah.
I just hope he stops. Like, here's the deal. Here's the lesson that I've learned from watching this stuff and just being a human being for years is that, like, look, if you're going to approach if you find a woman attractive or interesting, you should just open with, in the least confrontational and safest way possible, just say like, I like you. Is there a spark there? Do we have any interest in one another? Start from there. Don't open with a dick pic or asking for nudes or sending a creepy message saying like, oh, I feel kind of horny. Like, cool it with that shit. Just test the water first.
Simple hello,
Yeah, just like,
a hey,
how you doing? My name is such and such. I think you're pretty and you're funny and you're cool. Is there anything that could happen here?
Celebrity or not, I think that's a lesson a lot of guys need to learn on the internet.
Yeah.
I think just period.
Your 140 by 140 profile pic is looking good.
Yeah.
How you doing?
Yeah. I think you're attractive. Can I talk to you? And that's not always going to get results, but you know what? I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to do you better than sending an unsolicited dick pic. Yeah. Not that I'm saying that that's what Nick did. That was Carlos Danger territory.
Nobody wants a dick pic.
Now we're talking more just generalizing what we hear from girls all the time on the internet.
Yeah. The reality is that people are realizing, and it's interesting because like we've had, again, there's been like a male-female power dynamic in Western culture for a long time. And part of that cultural dynamic is the expectation that men approach women. That is the cultural expectation. Number one. doesn't have to happen that way. You know, like guys, you know, it's okay to just be cool and let ladies approach you, and ladies, it's cool to approach men. Ladies, it's cool to approach ladies. Men, it's cool to approach men. You know, just like, but do it,
daddy.
Do it in a safe way, in a safe place. Like,
And don't be a dick.
don't. If you want to ask someone out on a date for the first time, for example, don't corner them in a dark alleyway.
No, that will not work.
Yeah, no.
You sound like you've tried this before.
I have never done such a thing. I am a gentleman and a scholar.
I was having a conversation about this with someone earlier. So the reality is that people like to be approached, you know, with people that want to express romantic interest. People like to be approached when they expect it. Right. So like one of the classic ones is a lot of men are told that a good place to meet interesting women later, like when you're in your 30s, like I am, it is at the grocery store. Don't, because women aren't expecting it. Like there are places where people, exactly.
They're just trying to look at eggplants. They don't want yours.
Yes. You know, like certainly there's room for that to happen, but you have to be very, very clear on the signal. So like sometimes it's okay to be like, hey, look, like I think we're making a connection here. Is this okay? That's okay to say. If someone says like, oh no, like I was just looking at your cool hat, dude. Like I just think your hat's cool. I'm not into
Or
you.
that response is not manly enough, Drew.
And also, if someone rejects you, it's okay to be like, oh yeah, well no, like it's not because I'm a bad person. It's just because we're not a good fit. That's okay. Yeah. That's part of it too. Is that men are very, very fragile. Their egos are very fragile. So we're always worried about rejection. Don't be worried about rejection. If a woman rejects you, she's not right for you. That's the first rule of just being a human being. Yeah. You know, if you have a romantic interest in someone and they say no thanks, that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of just how you interact together, and it's not the end of the world. You're not going to die. Yeah. So yeah, don't flirt with people needlessly on Twitter.
That's the lesson you should learn here.
You don't slide into people's DMs, as it were. That shall get you fired.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how there was at one point discussion about a relationship moves podcast, and I'm glad that we were able to finally beta test it here.
Yes. Yeah.
If I mean, one day what you heard, call in.
Yeah. I really want to do like a sex and romance advice podcast.
We talked about this on episode 2 of Games.
Yeah, I've been wanting to do that for a long time.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of good advice to give people, and so much as that I don't. And that's the funny part.
I've seen a lot of rom-coms. Does that count?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Totally, yeah.
I've seen every movie with Jennifer Aniston at least twice.
Yeah.
I only have terrible advice to give, and I also watch a lot of anime, so that gives me some insight, I guess.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I played a dating
always
simulator.
Always bring a tentacle.
Don't base your romantic life off of anything you see in anime.
Wait, hold on. Are you trying to tell me that dating simulators are not real life? Is that what you're trying to tell me right now?
Yeah, I think they need to start taking simulator out of the title. Yeah. So, yeah, it sucks. Like I said, I liked Nick's content. I don't necessarily like Nick as a dude, but to be fair, I also don't know him personally. So, yeah. This kind of sucks. Because it's one of those things where, like, if I found out that, like, Jimmy Buffett was a pedophile, I would also be equally bummed.
I would have to burn all my shirts.
Yeah, like, what are we going to do, man? Yeah, you just got to distance yourself from that, so.
No, the last time something like this happened, this happened with someone that I really looked up to, it was Colin Moriarty with that tweet on Women's Day.
Oh, God.
And how that really changed the way I look at him. Like, he was someone I really respected. Almost like my video game spirit animal, because if there's one person who worked in the video game press who actually liked a lot of the same games I did, it was Colin Moriarty.
I thought you were going to say Bill Cosby, but Colin Moriarty works too.
Well,
Bill Cosby was also a bit of a downer,
video game realm.
What you didn't know is Ryan used to have a very big sweater collection.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, I totally understand that feeling too, where it's like someone you really looked up to, like, it's not the person you thought they were.
Yeah.
Or you almost wish they were. So I get that. So I honestly, if Nick has more fans, they might stick around. But really, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Here's what I really hope is that whoever was hurt by this, if you were quote unquote a victim, if you were a person who was made to feel uncomfortable, or I mean worse, if you felt some kind of emotional distress about some of the stuff that Nick has done or has done directly to you, I really hope that those people are that they get some kind of peace out of this. Hopefully, this means that he can't continue to approach them, and that they're obviously going to have like a journey that they're going to have to go on, whether they're over it now or they're not. They still have a thing that they're going to have to confront and live with that for the rest of their lives, as minor or as big a thing as it may or may not have been. I'm only saying that because, again, we don't know the details of how every single person was affected by this. Like there was one girl who was saying like he kept asking her for blowjobs. Like that's not on, dude. And I really hope that that girl she's since deleted her Twitter, probably because she got a bunch of negative shit thrown at her. I hope that she is able to realize that wasn't her fault.
No.
She shouldn't have to feel bad because some dude was being a fucking creep. Speaking for people like we're not Nick Robinson. We don't have as many followers as he does, but like, God. I would hope that nobody in our position would do that to like take advantage of people. That's really shitty. For sure. Yeah. So sorry that happened to you. That's awful. Yeah. So yeah, just
that's how the cookie crumbles.
Ending the podcast on a real high note.
I'm having a hard time segueing out of this.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna wrap up the show though because we've been going for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We should probably let people have their music time back with their iPods or whatever they're doing right now. However they're consuming this content.
Rick and Morty's on TV tonight.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Big ol' Rick.
Yeah.
What's that?
It is a great cartoon.
Actually, we talked about this once where I actually didn't know what Rick and Morty was until I told Drew this, and then he sat down for 20 minutes and told me what Rick and Morty was.
It's very good.
Yes, maybe Mr. Poopy Butthole will show up tonight.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen Mr. Poopy Butthole yet
since he was crippled and trying to cook.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and we got shot too. So, yeah. Oh boy.
All right.
Good show.
So
great show.
Before we go, Drew plugs go.
I'm at D McMillan Twitter, and go to www.game-moose.com. The Avon Colony review will be up soon. You can read that, and I mean, you'll see the big old number I put on it.
If not, you'll be able to also get this episode as well.
You will
from game-moose.com.
Yeah, if you want to read more detail, like I go into more detail in the actual written review. I talked a lot about it today, but there's even more to talk about, and you can see some screenshots, and you can decide for yourself if you think it's a pretty looking game or not. I don't.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm Brock McLaughlin on Twitter,
Instagram,
website, Brockstar Gaming. I have like a shit ton of reviews coming up this week.
Yeah, you have a lot of stuff.
Including 2 unreleased games, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You don't sound very excited about this.
I'm not very excited about them.
I don't like this.
Uh-oh.
Nah.
This is troubling for me.
Yeah. Not even we know what these games are.
But yeah, look on Brock's website this week. One earlier this week and one later.
Yeah.
As for me, you can find me on Twitter at Ryan Turford. That's TURFORD. You can also find me at game-moose.com as well with all your Game-Moose needs, including the Game Moose YouTube page, which I encourage people to go check out as well. We don't have a custom URL yet because we don't have enough subscribers, but just search for Game Moose on Twitter.
Go out there, like and subscribe our content, like our content and subscribe, please.
Please do us a solid and subscribe to the channel. We're going to have good content, including this podcast there.
Yep.
As well as other things like that we are going to talk about.
You can see our pretty faces.
Yes, exactly. So, for Drew McMillan and Brock McLaughlin, I'm Ryan Turford. This has been episode 89 of the Game Moose podcast, and we're out.
Bye, everybody.